It's May 1949, Israel are admitted to the UN, the Council of Europe is formed, Neroid, a planet from Neptune, is discovered, the Federal Republic of Germany is established, Siam changes its name to Thailand, and EDSAC, the first thought computer program, begins operation at Cambridge University. But the most significant event of the month of May 1949 has just happened at Perivale Maternity Hospital in Middlesex, where we have just been informed that a Mrs. Mildred Helen Wakeman has finally managed to get rid of 7.5 pounds of unwanted fat.
On an unknown night in August 1948, Cyril and Mildred Wakeman decided to have an early night, and, as a result of Mildred rolling over in her sleep, Richard Christopher Wakeman was born on this site 9 months later, in a maternity hospital that was demolished almost immediately after his arrival due to health and hygiene problems. Sadly, those health and hygiene problems have remained with him ever since. Proof that Rick was born here still litters this special site. Indeed, here are some of his early bottles. Tonight, in this theatre, we will be given a rare glimpse into the previously uncharted waters of Rick Wakeman's life. And indeed, there is no doubt in my mind that if his mother and father had lived to be here with you tonight, Mildred would be deeply regretting rolling over on that fateful evening of August 1948, before Cyril had finished his cocoa.
Come, Rick. Hey.
Running late?
No. What?
We called you 4 times already. What's wrong with you?
Come on, boss. Mateys are getting a bit... No. There's a programme on the telly I really want to watch. It's about some ageing, perverted, sex-starved, ex-alcoholic rock star they're going to name and shame him. Brilliant.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, hang on.
Who's that?
Our subject tonight came to infamy after joining the supergroup Yes as their keyboard player in the Straws in 1971. A complete hooligan and vindaloo-eating alcoholic.
No. Come on, guys, we've got to go on. We can't keep these waiting. Ian, start the music. Yeah, come on. That's obviously...
Ladies and gentlemen, musician and grumpy old man, Rick Wakeman.
Thank you very much, thanks. About 6 months ago now, I came up with this idea that I thought could be absolutely amazing if I could do it. Sadly, the missus wasn't up for it, so I had to knock that on the head. I don't think the ferret would have survived either, if the truth be known. But I thought, wouldn't it be a good idea if I turned my attentions to a new one-man show? And I wanted to do something completely different that no one had ever done before. And I came up with this idea. I thought, if I've got a screen and I can put friends of mine, musicians and other people up on there to play with, it'd be absolutely fantastic, because I could pretty much do what I wanted to do. And I explained it to my technical crew, who laughed at me and said, "You're barking." I said, "No, I want to really try it." And I thought, wouldn't it be good as well if I could send out somebody, our director, Robert Garofalo, to interview my old teachers from school, my old doctors and the people, the midwife who brought me into this world and all that. Wouldn't that be great? And he went out and he came back and he said, "We have got a bit of a problem as regards this." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "You're old and they're dead." I said, "All of them?" He said, "Yeah, all of them." He said, "I've gleaned some information." He said, "But it's not much use, really." I said, "Well, what have you done? It's a really integral part of the show." He said, "Well, what I've done is I've done what the police do when they have witnesses on the television. They don't want to show their faces." He said, "I've used actors." I said, "Well, what have you done for the information you couldn't get?" He said, "I made it up." I said, "Oh, great." He said, "Oh, it'll be all right." He said, "I think it's pretty accurate in places." And I said, "Well, how do I get away legally explaining that to people?" He said, "All you've got to do is just to say something like, 'I believe we have some very rare footage.'" He said, "Because that's what it is." I said, "All right." I also made the huge mistake of giving him access to my early photo albums, and that was a massive mistake. The crew reckon I look like Damien out of The Omen for that. That was the piano I learned to play on when I was... So that was my father's piano, still got it. 1899 Becks on it. The front was off because Mr. Sparrow, the piano tuner, had just been. And so we had a picture taken there. And that's what I learnt on from the age of 5. And I had a wonderful music teacher from the age of 5, Mrs. Symes. She was absolutely marvellous. 15 years I went to her. And I always remember the very first lesson, because you do. I was quite nervous, only 5 years old. And I went into the room and there she was. She was sitting there to give me my first lesson. And it's amazing what you remember. I remember looking at her, and the things I can remember is she was covered in freckles, absolutely covered in them, which was amazing. She also had the biggest pair of, I'll put this politely in Dunstable, Latin, mammae colossi. They were absolutely, and when you're 5, it was fascinating, you know. And she was a great, great teacher. And she believed in concerts. She believed in playing live. She said, playing live, it's just everybody shares the music. And I'd only been having lessons for about 3 or 4 weeks, and she said, Richard, you're in a concert. I said, am I? She said, yes. She said, all my pupils are giving a concert to the parents. And she said, you'll be going on first, because I always start with the youngest, and you're 5, up to the oldest. And she said, you'll be playing a piece of music called See a Monkey on a Stick. Now, a lot of people think I make this up. So I actually raked through everything. And I found the book. And there it is. See a monkey on a stick. The monkey. See a monkey on a stick. He can do a clever trick. I rewrote that when I was 9. Ah, I see. So she said, I said, what do I do, Mrs. Symes? And she said, you'll walk into the room, you'll say your name, your age, and the piece of music. You'll sit down and play it, stand up, bow, and come out. I said, okay. So on that concert day, I went through the door, and I couldn't believe there's about 40 parents all sitting there. I went, Richard Wakeman, aged 5, See a Monkey on a Stick. And I sat down and played it, and they all applauded. So I played it again. During the 4th rendition of See a Monkey on a Stick, I got dragged off by Mrs. Symes and my mum, but that was me. I was hooked. Absolutely brilliant. And Mrs. Symes was a wonderful teacher, because what she taught me to do, she said, once you've learnt the notes, you've learnt the piece of music from reading the music, she said, I want you then to close your eyes and see everything as pictures and colours. So that's what I did for years, and it was great, because you could play with so much feeling, you know, playing a piece, I don't know, called Schubert's Trout or something. You can imagine the little trout swimming by and things. And it was great. And I got to about, I suppose, about that age, really, about 11, something like that, 10, 11. And she said to me, Richard, I'm very concerned about your playing. You're playing all the right notes, but all your feeling has gone out of your playing. Do you know why? Any idea? And I said, I truly think I do know, Mrs. Symes. I said, up to now, I've been playing pieces of music sort of called like the Washerwoman, or Walking by the River, or The Lighthouse. I said, I can imagine that and play away and all the things. It's marvellous. I said, but now I'm doing pieces of music like Clementi Sonatina and Bach Prelude and Fugue, and I don't know what to do. She said, well, what you must do in that situation is, once you've learnt that piece of music, she said, give it your own name. Call it The Orchard. So whatever comes into your mind, so you can then close your eyes, play the piece of music, and you'll be thinking of the new title you've given it. I said, okay. And I think that's why, at that very same lesson, Haydn's Sonata in D became, I wonder if she's got freckles on her tits. It obviously worked, because she said she'd never heard me play with such feeling. She said it was absolutely amazing. So I thought it would be nice tonight to start off by doing that great piece, See a Monkey on a Stick, and I sincerely hope that it gets the same sort of reaction that it got back in 1954. And then I'm going to follow it up with a piece of music called The Jig from an album called Cirque Surreal, which is always nice to warm the old fingers up. I hope you have a nice night. Thank you.